Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy 1. Last time we finished up the Flying Fortress, and this time we start the optional dungeons with the Earth Gift Shrine. So this is unlocked by defeating Lich. So the floors are unique because they're actually randomly generated in sort of a weird kind of way. It's not like a traditional random generation, it's like you have 5 very preset floors, but the order in which you actually take them on is totally randomized. We got the 2 easy floors right off the bat. Can't really complain about that, I suppose. This is actually a little bit confusing also because your spawn position can also be random. So you have a couple different places from which you could spawn. For example, this one, apparently you can also spawn in the upper right corner instead of at the bottom. Just a little observation. If you're around level 45 to 50, I would say you should be able to complete this. But there may also be an element of luck to it as well, because this dungeon is home to some really tough enemies, and if you run into them, you're kind of toast. If you get good luck, then this will be no problem. Unless you're a completionist, then it becomes a problem, because you actually have to complete this level a total of 4 times. We'll get into that in a moment, though. This floor is a desert. And also you spawn totally randomly. So it's kind of a guessing game, to put it very bluntly. Which is also part of the reason why I've never actually played this level. I should also point out this is actually semi-blind, aka I actually have a map literally in front of me, actually more like slightly to the side of me. And I have actually not played this for myself, ever. So you see these trees? These are the closest thing you have to landmarks. I'm gonna try going up still. Aha! Okay. I chose wisely, because if I'm reading this map correctly, we're actually going the right way, very quickly. If I can avoid the really tough enemy, that would also be really nice. Fingers crossed. Fingers massively crossed, because, again, there was apparently a really scary enemy in here that I have never fought before. This oasis, we got good luck with our spawn point. That middle, going up from that lone tree and finding the 3 trees there with that pattern means that you have to go straight up. So that was actually really lucky. Now, we're on the worst floor of the game. Not the game, but the dungeon. Because it's a maze. You can actually see the entrance from our spawn point. I mean the exit from our spawn point. Problem, you literally have to go around the entire area. It's not a linear path at all. I think some of the treasures can also be randomized, though I'm not 100% sure on that. And I think because we dodged it in the desert floor, we won't actually get to see the really tough enemy. So, I guess I should mention, I think it's called the Abyss Worm, and apparently it has, like, ridiculous attack and, like, 2000 HP or something ridiculous. So, it's, like, really tough. Let's avoid this guy if we can. So, those guys are actually fixed on the map, so for once, a main area without a random encounter, which is kind of cool. Not too bad, though. From an animation standpoint, is what I'm trying to say. Because I think that's actually the reason why they do random encounters, because you just can't really animate sprites on the field that much. Because this is the power of the GBA, for some reason we can actually see enemies now. Because again, think about it. There are fixed encounters in the game, but most of them are invisible. Most of them are just like, oh, step on this tile, you get an encounter. But for some reason in this area, you can actually see them for some reason. And I feel like it's actually a little bit lazy, considering that they did it for the optional dungeons, why they didn't add that into the main game. So, yeah, just a minor nitpick there, that it would have been nice, like, for the Blue Dragon, for example, from the teleporter, and the Mirage Tower. It would have been cool if they could have added a physical sprite for it. Like, oh hi, Blue Dragon, here's a boss. Instead of just walking up to a tile and suddenly getting into what appears to be a random battle that's actually a forced encounter. And I'm actually going the wrong way, I think. No, wait, I'm going the right way. Again, it's kind of a maze, and also when you're trying to commentate and also getting into battles constantly, it's really hard to focus on what's the right way to go, and this is not the right way to go. Up one more, I think. Yeah. This dungeon actually is really short if you get good spawn points. Like, if I had gone left in the desert, it would have taken forever because I would have had to just meander for a very long time until I actually found it. I should also point out that I did equip some of the equipment I got from the last dungeon, like the Aegis shield I think I equipped. Because for some reason, only our knight usually gets turned to stone, not the others. So that should eliminate the problem. The Aegis shield protects you from stone. Not sure why though, because I don't know my Greek mythology. I think Aegis is a shield in Greek mythology, so it's sort of like a shield, to put it very bluntly. Aegis is also a Persona 3 character, so I am tempted to make a Persona 3 pun, but I think no one would actually get it other than me, because a lot of people don't really have the stamina to play Persona games, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like a lot of people start Personas, and then they're like, okay, this is way too much. And I'm saying this actually from personal experience, because it took me about 3 years to actually finish Persona 3. No, wait, actually, I started Persona 3 FES, which is the PS2 Director's Cut, I guess you could call it. And I got really stuck at one part, so then at a later point I got a PS Vita, to put it bluntly. I got a Vita, that was actually the next intermediate step. So I actually got the PSP version, Persona 3 Portable, and I actually managed to finish that because of several key gameplay changes that made it a lot easier to stomach, I suppose. Persona 3 has a fatigue system, which, coming from Persona 4, it was really hard to get into the vanilla Persona 3 because of just the fatigue system. It made it so much harder to just navigate because I was used to, at that point, level grinding constantly, and you can't actually level grind because of the fatigue system and how it makes it very hard to actually survive encounters. So, yeah, and the other versions that don't have that, like Portable, I was actually able to get a lot farther. And I think I got all the S-links too, social links. Yeah, Persona 3 Portable, I think, is the best version if you have never played a Persona before. Because, one, you have nothing to compare it to, and it's also the most accessible in terms of gameplay, followed by Persona 4. Persona 4 is a little brighter, which might be a turn-on to some, but it's also a turn-off for others because it's a little bit too anime for some people, and I totally get that. I personally would rank them both the same because I like them both for different reasons. Persona 3 I think has the better, oh, how to put this? I think Persona 4 has the better characters in general, but Persona 3 has the better overall story, and it ties together the characters a little bit better. Again, both games are fantastic. I would never let's play them because they're like 80-hour games. I'm at November in Persona 4 Golden, and I've been playing for 45 hours according to the in-game clock. November, by the way, is just roughly over halfway through the game, I would say, because there was still, let's see, 1, 2, I think there are 5 more months still left, so yeah, probably about halfway, because I think it goes up to like May, so yeah, the game's really long, and thus it wouldn't be fun for Let's Play. I know a lot of people like Persona Let's Plays, I don't know, I think it'd just be a little bit stressful. I should also point out that an enemy ran away earlier, which is unusual. Also, if you haven't figured out why I don't want to show this on screen 4 times, then yeah, this is why. Because this floor takes forever, the desert floor can take forever from my understanding of it. So, yeah. So we're on floor 5, which is actually a little bit unique from the standpoint of, from what I gather, you have a fixed spawn point, for once. You always start at the bottom. And you get to these little intersections where, depending on which way you go, you fight a different boss. So you have a matching room on the other side, and if you keep going, you'll get to another door. And on the other side is actually a, I guess you could say, super boss? Not really a super boss per se, but just a boss who's not in the original. So you managed to reach these depths. I commend you, but your journey ends here, I'm afraid. This one is Cerberus, who I think is in Final Fantasy 3. I have not done any research. I've not done any research on this fight. I'm going in completely blind, and I will probably die horribly. That is my prediction. Thunderbolt's actually a really nasty move, so yeah, we were lucky to not take any more damage from that. Okay, I actually do have a FAQ open, or a guide more specifically. Apparently this guy has about 4,000 HP, so this is indeed tougher than literally anything else in the game up to this point. That's really scary, actually. Actually, I'm gonna cast another Pilara, I think, in case he does that move again. And Flare. I used, like, what was it, Blizzaga or Thundaga last time, but I think Flare will be a better choice in the long run. Yes, definitely. So we've gotten, for that turn alone, we got 1,000 HP off of him, so yeah, this can go pretty quickly if you get good RNG and stuff. Otherwise, it can actually take a very long time. Also, I should point out that you may be wondering to yourself, why can't I just go back out and fight this? Like, fight the others? From what I gather, after you actually finish one of these dungeons, they warp you out to the beginning. So you actually have to go all the way back to the bottom floor in order to fight the next boss, and so on and so forth. From what I gather, only a couple of them have treasure in this one. I think only 2 of them have treasure. So that's convenient, I suppose. But this boss is actually, I think, not the hardest. I think the hardest one, yeah, we actually picked pretty wisely from what I can tell from what I'm reading here. I'll go over the other bosses in a moment, once we actually finish this one. I decided against showing them because this would take forever. I wish there was like an invisible spell for everyone, like an invisible all. As strange as that sounds, there isn't one, and I feel like that would make things a lot easier. And we won. Slight problem, apparently. We get no experience or gil from this. So if you're worried about getting over level, don't, because we don't actually get anything for doing this. The Kotetsu is not a very good sword for all that work, huh? Let's see. Yeah, it's really not worth it. Wow, that was kind of lame, actually. A strange force bars the door, so all we can do is go into the teleporter. And this teleporter takes us to the surface. So yeah, this tends to be a problem. The other bosses are the two-headed dragon, can be found in the northwest corner of the area. He'll drop the Bard's Tunic, which from what I gather is an okay item. He has 40,500 HP, so he's a little bit tougher, but lower magic defense and evasion, so keep that in mind. Got the Armin, which is like a floating eye with like wings. It's hard to describe, but if you play Final Fantasy, chances are you've seen an Armin, because they actually become normal enemies in later games. That guy has 5,000 HP and drops a Dry Ether. Not worth it if you ask me. You have Cerberus, which we fought, drops the Kotetsu, that's cool. And you have the last one, Echidna, who is a lot scarier than the name would imply, because when I think Echidna, I think Knuckles. But Echidna is actually like a Greek mythological thing, apparently. 4,800 HP and drops an X Potion. We have an X Potion. Just to demonstrate, it fully restores HP. I don't know how worth it is at this point, because we have so much magic. We have a heal staff. I don't know, it just doesn't seem worth it to me. To show all that on screen. I mean, you saw how quickly that boss went. It really didn't take very much time at all, did it? So, yeah, just be another thing to show, so... let's do something else really quickly, though. Oh gosh, where the heck was it? It's near the land bridge that we blew up, so that's... I guess a directional cue? This is Melmond, I think, so we should have to go up here. There we go. That's also the whirlpool to take us to the third one, so we'll have to do that at some point as well. I want to show them all one time at least, just for the sake of showing them and, you know, completing the game. Speaking of completion, actually, go into config. Let's see, go all the way down, all the way down. Yes, these are actually required for completion, not completion. Completion, so yeah, you will have to actually fight them all if you want to 100% the game. And there are a lot of them apparently. That's not good. Not really good at all. Let's talk to the Smith. Is this adamantite? Alright. I'll use this to make the final sword you'll ever wield. So, I think this is actually only the second strongest sword in the game. Done! In all of my years, I've never crafted the finest sword. You got... oh wait, no text yet. Now text? You obtain Excalibur! If you are familiar with Arthurian legend, this is actually the sword from that. It's a recurring sword, actually. It can be equipped only to knights, so keep that in mind. Look at those stats, though. Pretty dang impressive. Okay. It's apparently all elemental, so that's really cool. So you don't have to worry about accidentally using it on something that's, like, weak to it, or strong to it. Let's see, what else can I say about this? Okay, here's how it is. In this version, it's not the strongest sword. In the original, it apparently was, I think. Because in this version they added some new stuff. Specifically a sword called the Ragnarok, which I think is from, like, Norse mythology. But apparently it's even stronger. And is dropped by one of the super bosses of the Dawn of Souls version specifically, so we'll probably try to go for that and probably die trying. But in any case, I think we're good to end off. So next time, with the Excalibur in hand, we shall go and tackle the next optional dungeon, hopefully, and hopefully won't die trying. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you join me next time for more Final Fantasy.